Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Voices Randomist, the interviews. This is Eldridge Alexander, your host, and tonight I'm here with a very special guest. Before we get started with the interview with my niece, Nykia, I want to talk to you. This is a really special topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about heart transplants and the rare nature of it happening, but also even more rare is donorship by black recipient, people that want to do donations. We don't necessarily do it. Each year, black people represent about 27.7% of all transplant and donor recipients. However, with us being only 12% of the population, there's only about a 7.7% donation rate. So you can see that we're really hurting. So tonight, Nakia, I want to thank you for coming here and sharing your very personal story so that people can understand the importance of organ donation. If they don't have a reason not to donate organs, on the back of your driver's license or that ID, you should go on and donate. So tonight, why don't you tell everybody, you can tell us who you are. Well, I know who you are and where you grew up and, kind
Okay.
of where you live. And then we'll get into how things transpired.
Okay. Well, my name is Nykia. I stay in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm 38 years old. My journey all started when I was 30 years old. And
So
it all happened in 2015.
2015.
Yes.
So before this onset in 2015, had you ever had any type of medical history that would have had anybody to believe that you were going to run into what you? So talk about a little bit about your journey as we go through this.
Okay. Well, before I was actually diagnosed, years before that, I did complain about having chest pains. I
Okay.
remember being in high school playing basketball, and I always complained about, running, being short of breath, things like that. My mom took me to the hospital. They hooked me up. They told me I had a heart murmur, which they said
Okay.
it can open and close. Well, years after that, I was okay. I was doing fine. And then in 2015, I was sick. I remember just going to work. I couldn't breathe, walking, short of breath, and I'm on my calls and I just hear a lot of crackling, on those calls. And my supervisor used to ask me, like, how come we keep hearing those crackling? What's wrong? And I didn't know what was going on with me. I just know that my body was different at the time. And then I just remember going to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. I actually went to Freighter.
Okay.
And they told me that I had walking pneumonia.
Okay.
So I had walking pneumonia for a long time, but I also got better. So I was better. And then out the blue again, I couldn't breathe. One day I was laying down, it felt like I was suffocating, or drowning. At that time, I didn't know that I was already in heart failure. So I kept going to the hospital, kept going. Now this time I'm going to St. Joseph's. Now I was going like 3 times a week. And they kept telling me, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Oh, it's just viruses or you have asthma. They gave me an asthma pump. They never tested me or anything. I knew I didn't have asthma, so I went to urgent care. So when I went to urgent care, that's when they told me, oh yeah, you have walking pneumonia. They gave me steroids, cough syrup. They said, if that don't work, come back. It didn't work for me. So I just remember talking to my sister one day. I said, I know I'm gonna die. And she said, how you gonna die? I said, my heart gonna fail on me. I didn't even know at that time. I just knew it was something with my heart. So on my off day, it had to be like a week after that. I told my sister on a Sunday, I went to work. My supervisor said, Nykia, you don't look good. You need to go to the hospital. I said, well, let me just finish off my 4 hours of overtime and I'll go. I was that dedicated to my job that it didn't stop me. So after my job, after I was done with my hours, I went to the hospital. Now I was thinking, oh, let me go to St. Joseph's. But I was like, well, every time I go to St. Joseph, it's always something. They keep just telling me the wrong things. I knew it was something else. So I went down to Aurora Sinai. Now I couldn't park. I didn't even know where to park at. So I was leaving again. Something in my head told me, no, go back, turn around, go back. I went back. I got tested. Dr. Mark came in the room and he said, Nykia, I don't know what's going on with you. Everything looked perfectly fine, but it's something going on. I tell you what, let's just do one more test. That one test saved my life.
What was the test?
Um, it I don't remember what type of test it was, but I know it was the type of test that showed the functions of your heart. It
Okay.
showed the ejection fraction, which is
Mm-hmm.
depending on how your heart is functioning. I was
Okay.
only at 15% at the time.
Ooh.
He told me if I wouldn't came into the hospital that day, I would have died in my sleep. I would have died. So they had to rush me to the upper part of the hospital. They put me on morphine to keep me calm, and they was just telling me, well, it's nothing they can do at the time because my heart just kept failing. It kept going down real fast. So once they got me to St. Luke's 2 days after, I was at 5%.
Oh,
And
shoot.
yeah, I was at 5%. I got diagnosed with congestive heart failure, cardiomyopathy.
I know
And it
what
was,
cardiomyopathy is. That's what Raymond
yeah,
died from.
yeah. So they had me on medication. I was in the hospital for about a whole month. I begged them to let me go home. They did the whole, the follow up. I don't know if you guys familiar with it, but it's a lot of testing that they do to see exactly how can they help you or
Well,
how it
I
can.
was a cardiac tech at St. Mary's Hospital for about 3 years. I
Mhm.
worked in cardiology for the longest, transcribing for Dr. Chu, and I actually was the cardiac tech at St. Mary's, and I worked for Doctors Pedraza and Smith, and they were two, Dr. Johnson and Pedraza, and they were two of the pioneers in heart surgery. And this is why I really wanted you to share your story, because oftentimes when we go to the hospital, first of all, you're telling me that you were not diagnosed correctly. You were misdiagnosed because you were
Yeah.
told that you had pneumonia and you were sent home. Talk to me a little bit about that voice in the head, because I'm really interested in that, because I have stories about how the voice saved my life. So what was it specifically that was said to you when you were driving and you didn't really know what was going on?
I just
Do you
kept hearing,
remember?
yeah, I just kept hearing voices saying, go back, just go back, because there's something wrong, just go back. And I was just thinking, I just want to go home. I'm tired. I just want to go home. He just kept saying, no, go back, go back. That's when I turned back and found out my heart was at 13%. I was already at my fourth stage of heart failure, which is, to them, they said death. So it was any time, any day I could have died.
So take me what the process was. You here in the hospital, they tell you that you're gonna die, and then they tell you what? You need a heart, or how does this come about?
Well, they come in the room. I have all my family there. They come in the room. They say the medication we want to give you, we know it's not going to work. Your heart is real bad right now. It's at 5%. There's nothing we can do. We just need to go with the next step, and that was to plan my funeral. That's what they told my family, to go ahead and just plan the funeral. It's any day now. So my mom, she was out of town. They called my mom. My mom was trying to get here, but I knew with me and my mom, if she was in the room, it would have just stressed me out even more. But she kept begging him, like, no, no, try something, try something. Now, Dr. Mark came back in the room a couple days after, and he said, you know what, Nykia? He told me, the creator told me, to let's try one more thing. And he tried it. It was a heart medicine that he
Mm,
tried. It helped me.
mm.
It helped. It kept me stable. So I was in the hospital with the whole time
So
for a whole
how
month.
long were you on this? So you're on this medication for an entire month, and then what happened? How did the call out go for you to get on the donor list to actually even be a transplant victim? Because I think a patient, because I think that that's what a lot of people want to know, is you go from you're gonna die, we don't, there's nothing we can do, here's some medication that can try to help you, to you're gonna get a heart, and then you get some extra stuff that happens. So take us through that.
Okay, so it's a whole workup that they do. They have to test your blood. They have to make sure that you don't have any type of diseases. You have to have like the scans on your legs, your whole body. You got to go through like a whole scan. You have to make sure your teeth is good. So you go through the dental work to make sure there's no bacteria, no infections, anything that can cause bad blood to go into your heart. So it's like
Right.
a whole workup. So that was the first
Mhm.
process. But then my way of
How long did that take how long did you go through that, the workup? A
the
week,
workup
a
all the
month?
way, the workup was all the way until I got my new heart.
Wow. And
And
so from the time you got to the hospital and they told you need a new heart, how long did you have to wait to get your actual, to know that you were going to get a heart?
2018. But the thing is, my journey before that, everything they said can possibly happen to me happened to me. So I had a life vest, which is life vest is to keep you stable, So if your heart was to stop, then it would bring you back to life. So I had to be on it for 23 hours. That 1 hour of the day is just to get in the shower. Somebody had to watch me. So I only was on that for 2 months. Then I got a defibrillator with a pacemaker. And that was February 14th of 2016. And then after that, I had got a LVAD, which was in January 2018. A LVAD is actually is a machine. It's this. It's like a mechanical type of machine that go inside of your heart. It's actually worse than getting a transplant. I was on that for only 6 months. While on while having an LVAD, I had a stroke on Mother's Day.
Okay.
I was I wasn't able to talk. I wasn't able to walk or anything like that. I had to relearn how to do everything because my body was that bad. My body, my heart, everything was that bad that I couldn't. I was dying. So,
Mm-hmm.
2018 on Mother's Day, I woke up to a stroke. They was telling me, well, Nykia, if having a stroke, you can't get on a heart transplant list. But I was so determined. So they had me in the neuro department. And as I'm laying down and they telling me everything that's going on with me, that I probably can't get on a heart transplant if it get worse, what I did was I started massaging out my left side. My whole left side was gone. I started massaging it out. My mom, everybody was massaging out my legs, my arms, everything. Probably 3 days afterwards, I was back normal. They said they never seen that happen that fast. So
Yeah.
once I got discharged, the day I got discharged, I got the call. Once I was leaving out, they said, Nykia, guess what? I said, what? We put you on a heart transplant list and you the first at the list, the top, all the way at the top. Yeah. So probably
See,
a
that's
year.
how I know this story needed to be told because God has you here. People talk about ain't no God. I don't talk. Listen,
Oh yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
voice is there. Willing to hear and follow the voice, right?
Yeah.
You just got to be willing. So after you go through this, you find out you're on the heart transplant list. Take us through what's next.
July 22nd, I got the call. Private call came in saying, Nykia, where
Mama's
you at?
birthday.
My
Mama's.
mom
You know
told me
that's your
that too.
grandmother's birthday.
Yep, yep. I got the
Yeah.
call. They said, Nykia, where you at? I said, I'm out. They said, do you have anybody with you? I said, yeah, my friend with me. They said, I got some good news for you. I said, what is that? They said, we got a heart for you. Can you come in right now? And I said, I'm coming in right now. Now the thing is, I was on my way to Texas Roadhouse, so I never got my steak and shrimp. so so I went to St. Luke's, and the crazy thing about it, I had the 5 wishes. The five
Yeah.
wishes. I had that if anything was to happen to me, just let me go. Even if I ended up on a machine or anything, just let me go. Something told me it's not it for me. I told my doctors before I was gonna die this time. I knew it. I knew it. So what I did, I went in there, I changed my 5 wishes. I changed it till I want to fight till I can't fight no more. When I ended up on that table, I died. The first heart, my body rejected it. They got me upstairs where they kept me stable. They put me on life support. I was on life support. Altogether, I died 3 times. When they was telling my mom and them to go ahead and plan my funeral, that's when Dylan saved my life, August 7th. August 7th, Dylan saved my life. And that's the heart I have right now. No rejections. I've been perfectly fine, healthy. And I'm just happy to say that I'm still here. I actually got to witness.
Who is Dylan? The person whose heart you have?
Yeah. Dylan was 24 years old.
And what happened?
He overdosed of heroin. He relapsed. Yeah. And he stayed in Waukesha. So it was good that, they was down the street.
Wow. 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 It's like when the creator has a purpose for you, they line things up. I know that before you got sick, you were on your way to probably what could have been a real lucrative rap career because
Oh
you're
yeah.
a hella rapper. And so what I'm gonna do is have you back um one night so you can actually during the holidays you can spit some holiday rap for us. I really want to do
Okay.
that. I want to ask you what really do you think is the purpose and that you came out of all of this. I know there's some profound things that happened, like the fact that you got the heart mama's day of mama's birth. I'm pretty
Mm.
sure she was somewhere around, your grandfathers, all of the angels. They say you live on angels. I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it.
What are you thinking now about now that you know that you've got this heart from
Mm.
this person and you know how many times you died? When you take us back to you dying, do you remember anything from those times when you went to the other side?
Yes, both
Tell,
times.
tell
Even
me more.
when I had my LVAD, let's start with the LVAD. When I had my LVAD, I didn't believe like when I first got diagnosed, I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in anything. My nephew was 5 years old at the time, and he used to always ask me, "TT, why you don't believe? You have to believe in something." You know, when I got my LVAD, it was like my creator was trying to tell me something. I went through the darkness. If that's what hell was, that's what I went. I went to hell if that's what it was. I remember just being in a room, everything go pitch dark, and I just hear like boom, boom, like that. And I'm turning, I'm looking everywhere, and I see young people getting dragged by chains, babies. Everybody just getting dragged with chains. And then it will just skip to another scene. So I'm rapping, and then it will skip to another scene. I'm in a car accident. It was just all these different scenes. And it was just telling me, hey, it's nothing that you did wrong for us to really take you. You have to change certain things. Now, when I got my heart, I was on life support. When I did die, I remember when I died, I remember people coming in the room and they saying, Nykia, why are you not believing? We don't believe you. And I kept saying, I do believe, but they said you don't believe. So what we're gonna do is start this clock over. I kept having to relive the same day over and over and over. I remember them saying, you and your mom don't get along. Your emotions is not there. I remember having a capital D on the board that said I was detached from my feelings. That I had to find my feelings. You know, I had to dig deep into my emotions. You know, I remember they sitting me in front of my mom. They said, express how you feel. I couldn't. They said, you know what, we still don't believe. We're gonna start this clock over again. Kept reliving it over and over and over. One day I heard three, it was like boom, boom, boom. Now they told me if you turn left, before that, they said if you turn left, you're gonna commit suicide. Now, when I was younger, I used to have suicidal thoughts. But they said if you turn right, you'll be all right. But them three booms I heard, I remember someone coming in the room saying, Nykia, it's okay. You can turn left, because I heard it coming from the left side, but I was scared to turn left because they said I commit suicide. I knew it wasn't my time to go. So they said it was okay to turn left. When I turned left, something hit the window. It was like this bright light hit the window and it got big. And all I heard was, do you see him yet? Do you see him? And I just shook my head. I see him. And said, all you got to do is believe. That's all you have to do. It don't matter your preference of what you like. It don't matter what you did in life or anything like that. You just have to believe. And from that day, I just believed, and everything just got better for me. And I think the reason for me was to come back was to tell people that, you know, it's people every day have problems. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the creator. They don't believe that they can be somebody, you know. I came back to let people know you got it. You can be whatever you want to be. You want to be. You just got to believe in something, you know. Just believe in a higher power. You'll make it, you know.
I totally get that. And that's why I really want it. It's just been on my heart. Like, I have to have her tell this story because I know that there's something divine in this story and I'm already hearing it.
Yeah.
What do you want people to do? You know, knowing that we all have a purpose,
Mhm.
knowing that you've gone and seen that all we have to do is believe. What do you want people to do when it comes to donation, heart transplants, things like that? What would you ask?
What I would ask from everybody is, because to be honest, I didn't believe in becoming a donor, but you just never know what situation you might end up in. You never know. Maybe you might need the heart. Maybe you might need some other type of transplant. Maybe one of your relatives might need it. You don't necessarily have to put it on your ID. All you have to do is just let your family know what you want done if something was to happen. And you can go from there. But just let everybody know. Don't be afraid. Just go ahead and become a donor.
Let me ask you this question. You talked about your mom, you
Mhm.
know, my sister. How does your father factor into this? How has your relationship gotten, has it gotten stronger? Has it changed? What's that dynamic like now since you know, have gone through life and death?
I believe it got stronger. My dad was there through my whole journey. My mom, my family, everybody was there through my whole journey. I believe everything got way better. As far as with my health, now I have people around me that's actually going to the doctor and go get their hearts checked out. You know, I had a friend, her daughter actually died on one of my anniversaries, which was my 1 year anniversary when I first got my heart transplant. Her daughter
Mm-hmm.
died my day, and they didn't believe in being donating organs or anything like that. But the reason why she did is because the things I went through, and her daughter was able to save 9 people's lives. You know,
Yeah,
so
because someone else is living through you, and then we give the gift of life to someone else. I often used to think, I get it that if a person has cancer or AIDS or anything like that, if you have a disease, you are not going to donate. But if
mhm,
people are dying from a natural death, like you said, this person died of a heroin overdose, so obviously there were organs that were not damaged, depending on what was going on. So that's the beauty of it all. So
mhm,
if people are out there listening tonight, just remember that, like he said, you never know where it might strike. You know, it could be any organ. I mean, I know there are corneal implants that people need, all kinds of things like
mhm,
that. So I just really want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us, sharing the journey, and sharing the
mhm,
importance of being a donor. No matter whether it's your heart, liver, lungs, eyes, spleen, whatever it is,
yeah,
somebody out there might benefit from the fact that you thought enough to do that. And I just wanted to look here and see if there were any additional stats. But the last thing that I just want to ask you, when they did the blood work and the workup on you, was there anything in your family history that predisposed you that you know about to being born with a murmur and then it transpiring into what happened? That was the piece that I wanted to know about family history. And did you learn anything about the dynamics of your family and history, and anything that you can pass on to me, your auntie, and that I can pass on to, Afton and, all your cousins and everybody? What do you want to share with us without being too invasive?
all right. So my doctors did do a genetics test, but the genetics test was done on my dad's side. Now, at the time, I
Okay.
did not know that there is a heart disease on my dad's side. What they tested for, it didn't show up, but there was a percentage somewhere else. So once everything happened with me, now I'm finding out on my dad's side, there's a heart disease, diabetes. Now I know on my mom's side, it's
Wow.
just diabetes. My cousin died of,
Well, the granddaddy, I think my grandfather, your great grandfather,
mhm.
granddaddy Mitchell had heart disease.
Oh,
So
you froze up, ain't you, Jane? Ain't you, Jane? You still there? Can you see me? I can't see you. I can't hear you either. I'm gonna test you. Ain't you,
you
Jane? You there?
still there? It looks like it kicked us out and brought us back in.
Yeah, froze.
Yeah, we'll wrap up here. We was almost done anyway. I can just edit that out real hopefully. The last thing that I just wanted to say here is that I know you are divine, because from heart transplantation overview I was reading in here, they was saying that the average person usually will have things like they'll run into pulmonary hypertension, infection, and cancer. A lot of times the people who are they exclude people 55 to 60 and over, but diabetes can interfere, advanced lung disease. It's all kind of things that happen as a result of getting a heart. And they said in here, to ensure the heart donors are distributed fairly, an organization known as UNOS, the United Network for Organ Sharing, created a system that spells out to consider the time on the wait list, severity of the illness, the geographic distance between the hospital donor and a transplant center, and it's measured increasing like 500 miles is usually the cutoff line. But some of the things that they really look for is that you didn't fall into any of the categories because you weren't over the age of 50. You had no history of smoking or anything. You had no history of repeated hospitalizations, no ventricular assistance, none of that kind of stuff. You had none of that. So I think that what you're saying here is knowing your family history is important, and sharing that information as much as we can. The last thing that they said here is that most after heart transplant, you go through the psychological evaluation. Did you have to go through that as well?
Yes, I did. Because I went through a time that I didn't know what was real and what was fake, because when I did die, the things that I saw, I know they said a lot of times I was hallucinating, which it felt so real to me because I felt it, you know. I saw a lot of things that I know for a fact it was real. So I still go through it. So sometimes I'm just by myself. I go through those. Hey, did this really happen? I can't, you know, or if I'm driving, I'm just looking into the sky. I see certain things and I don't know if it's real or fake. And
I saw your car thing the other night when you saw that thing outside by your car. I saw that.
It's still there. I tried to rub it up.
It's like, it could be angels. You never know. Look at it like that. There's angels. The thing is that I really feel like you're a divine person, because they say approximately to 85, this is a survival as we wrap up our segment tonight, 85 to 90% of heart transplant patients are living 1 year after their surgery, which we're happy because you're living well long after 1 year after your surgery. The death rate is only approximately 4%. There's a 3-year survival approaches. You get to the 75%. So this is so good, you know, that you are at that marker where you're past what they would see in the 75%, because that's the 3-year survival rate approaches 75%, you know, trans. So you're in really good space. Usually, they say the age of heart donor does not affect long-term survival, but anybody over 40 years of age may be, you know, at a lesser risk, a higher risk from the failure of the heart because of narrowing of arteries that occurs as you get older earlier. So, yeah. So I want to thank you for taking some time out to Nykia to go through your journey with us. I know we didn't go through every single solitary thing, but I'll have you back and maybe during the holiday season, and you come back prepared to spit some rhymes for us. For our viewers out there, your healthcare provider is going to be your best source of information for questions and concerns related to your medical health, your family's medical health, anything about transplants, heart, or otherwise. As far as you want to know things, go in and go to, I am actually on the site that is, I just typed in heart transplants, and it's Heart Transplant Beyond Basics online, and also the National Health Centers and the CDC all have the information out there about heart transplants overviews and why you should donate and how you can donate. So on that night, we want to thank you, Nykia, again for sharing your journey with us, leaving those words of wisdom with us, and I'm glad you're going to come back and do some rap for us and show us how you're progressing there. We really appreciate it. If you like this video tonight, please tune in to Voices Randomish on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. Follow us at Voices Randomish Viewers. Don't forget to share the story, like it, comment, and also put in the topics anything that you would like to hear us talk about. Because after all, we want to know what's your frequency. On that note, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next time on Voices Randomish. I'm your host, Eldridge Alexander. Good night. Okay.